This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I had that nap, and now I've seen Rodan, a Japanese monster movie from 1956 directed by Ishiro Honda. Set in a mining village out in the countryside, it begins with the disappearance of two miners within a flooded shaft. One soon being found dead from unusual and inhuman wounds. More bodies pile up, and the assailant is discovered to be an ancient species of insect larvae, having somehow survived underground since prehistoric times. However, this is only the beginning of the problems, as an earthquake seems to awaken a supersonic flying creature also from prehistory. A giant pterosaur called Rodan, able to surpass the speeds of fighter jets and destroy them. Not to mention, it can also level cities with ease. Needless to say, the race is on to stop it before it's too late for not only Japan, but the world. It might also be needless to say that this movie touches upon unhindered nuclear testing, a common topic among other monster movies I've seen, though here it's not really used within the story to any greater extent besides world building. In fact, there really isn't too much of a world to build up here, and instead the story focuses more on the events that occur. There are still a handful of character stories, of course, but there comes a point where the movie loses sight of them and goes all in on its earth-shattering happenings. And perhaps more interestingly, the amount of violence that is seen. This movie is probably one of the more hardcore from its time, in my opinion at least, even if it doesn't explicitly show actual acts of violence among characters or monsters. The aftermath is enough to get the idea of the carnage across, even when it's nothing more than a blood-stained jet pilot's helmet. Other than that, there isn't much else in the film that makes it stand out from others, save maybe for a bit near the end that gives Rodan an element of depth beyond sheer destruction, almost humanizing it. It's not at all foreshadowed before it appears or developed afterwards, but its inclusion does seem like something which could have pushed the story in a different direction, not to mention influence the monster genre as a whole. But, well, that's something I'll have to look out for in other movies. Anyways, this film is, again, far more concerned with what goes on rather than why. To make this obvious, it thrives in its special effects and cinematography, making use of everything it can to play up the physical scale of events and the creatures responsible. Granted, those same creatures and Rodan itself can look out of place with the real humans, but they have enough of an effective design that they are still pretty believable. Not to mention that they integrate well with those other real-world elements whenever they appear. On that note, I think much of the film is shot on location, which obviously adds a great amount of believability to what goes on and makes it all feel all the more immediate, especially in scenes made to show the scale of the mining village and its surrounding destruction. It actually makes me wonder how much of the movie was written around everything that already existed in the area. Whatever the case, the end result does at least have enough to stand out on its own, from this production design to its greater willingness to show the casualties of monster attacks. There's plenty of room for it to have gone a bit further in these choices, but what's seen here works well enough as first steps towards the greater themes that are explored in later films. Rodan, Ishiro Honda, 1956. 3 stars. I'd say it's worth a watch. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. It's nice to have something like this to get back into the groove of reviews. Lists are fun, but they do take a lot out of you when you're in a crunch.